Oh, I got some stuff. I got stuff on my my desk. Okay, well, we're just gonna have to deal with. I don't know what's going on with the lighting. This goes down here. All right, guys. So welcome to Weird and Woo Woo. Do I have the thing on? Okay. Anyways, um, they've given me preemptively some stuff before coming on for this reading. So I'm gonna go ahead and just kind of go over that a little bit. Let me remind you, God Almighty, am I just gonna somebody? Um, I'm just gonna open that all the way, and if it washes me out, it washes me out. Oh well. All right. So I got stuck in my dang thing. Anyways, um, before I tell you everything that they gave me ahead of time, because that's why there's a title already. So, uh, first things first. You're a sovereign being. You can determine if, how, when, or why any of these messages might apply. My recommendation to you is to never Cinderella it to make a fit. Okay, fantastic. Um, so I was first getting some information about like banishing a trickster spirit, or like removing it from your field, removing it from something that you work with. It felt it could be either, yeah, it feels like something you weren't aware of, or something that you invited into your energy without full knowledge of how they operated or the way that they worked. Because I feel like a sense of distrust, lies, all that kind of stuff, right? But also like, but it's kind of like, well, no, it's not. It's a trickster spirit. Like the using manipulation and illusion to try and either get what the fuck is going. Pardon my French. Going like to get you to do something, to get you to see something, to get you. So it's kind of like using illusions to move you along. And there's this very adamant like um intolerance for that anymore. Like give it to me straight, say it to me straight, show it to me straight, like no tolerance, no room for working with anything that doesn't is not upfront, honest, transparent, period. Um and so it was kind of like getting rid of a trickster, like eliminating that from your field, right? Like eliminate the trickster spirit from your field. Okay, so it came out like that. And then it was like coming clean. Like, okay, what have I been under the illusion of that I'm not aware of? Like, what specifically has been manipulated in my awareness in trying to get me to do certain things? And so it's kind of like needing the truth of what, like, okay, like show it to me clearly now. And so they gave it to me as coming clean. So that's the reason why I titled it like coming clean, like showing you everything that you weren't aware of before. That you it's like it's like a half truth, or a, you know, when people are like, it's just a little white lie, like it's just a little white lie, but it feels as if you energetically pick up on, I can tell this is more than just a little white lie. I can tell that this is more than just whatever. You feel very about something. Uh Demanding, I would say. Like, I'm not like anyways, uh, and then they gave me a song, and I was gonna look up the lyrics for you. So it's Stevie Nicks' "Sisters of the Moon." Of the Moon by okay, so it was Fleetwood Mac, not just Stevie Nicks, so and the lyrics are, "Intense silence as she walked in the room, her black robes trailing, sister of the moon. And a black widow spider makes more sound than she, and black moons in those eyes of hers made more sense to me. Heavy persuasion It's kind of hitting on the nerve of that feeling of or that sense of illusion a bit or, like, being manipulated to a certain degree. And she was dark at the top of the stairs, and she called to me, and so I followed, as friends often do. See, there's this sense of, like, something not being in the full light and still following it, still connecting with it, still, like, allowing it you into your energy. She asked me, "Be my sister, sister of the moon." I did not know this, like, do it okay. Okay, bitches. Some call her sister of the moon, some say illusions are her game. They like to wrap her in velvet. Does anyone, oh, know her name? Oh my god. So, this has popped up a couple of times on my playlist. I have, like, a thing where it plays from my playlists and then adds things in that it would like, "Here's a suggestion," kinda thing. And like, just before I was closing out my phone, I saw that and I was like, "Oh, that feels like a thing." I guess it is a thing. So, there is a feminine energy or a very alluring energy that you've invited in or followed or aligned with that uses persuasion and illusion in their workings. This is going to be a woo woo read. This is woo. This is very woo woo. So if you're not woo woo, I guess you can go ahead and go. Um, it says, and so I followed as friends often do. I cared not for love nor money, and I think she knew. Well, the people, they love her, and still they are the most cruel. It feels as if this is trying to show somebody that which we see this happening on a lot of social media, this tit for tat of like following certain deities or working with certain energies or doing and engaging in certain practices. And it's kind of like the spiritual community looking at the spiritual community like like there is no real sisterhood, brotherhood kind of feeling sometimes because it's like can't fathom that some of the people that say that they follow certain deities actually do. Hey, Kelsey. We're gonna leave this up, and we're about to post some cards. Um, Egyptian gods. Let's see what it has to say. I think this is really gonna highlight the level of something about the illusions and persuasion being used to show you or help you with your discernment um, of what is and is not aligned with you, what is and is not for you. Like there's something about needing to integrate that just because okay, it's the idea of just because somebody calls themselves a Christian does not mean that they behave in any way, shape, or form like a Christian. Just because somebody says that they're a follower of Hecate does not mean that they behave. There's a lot of dark that will parade around as light. There's a lot of light that parades around us. Like so, it's. And I'm not one that's like I'm not a light, all light. I'm very much a fan of the dark. So, um, but not always what it seems. Don't make assumptions that because this, and this happen, it's almost like don't make assumptions that just because you are involved with something beautiful, expansive, and enlightening, that all tactics won't be employed in their practice or guidance, but also that moths are attracted to the light. You know what I'm saying? Like the idea that not all who come, for lack of a better term, are your brethren. Does that make sense? So it really does feel like walking a path of discernment within your spiritual path. Darkness. It's to teach you the discernment. It's to teach you to see in the dark. So even if you are upset about the lack of transparency, and what you may feel is integrity, it is safer to practice finding your way out of an illusion with this energy than on your own. It's almost like you're being protected as you develop this discernment. Sense of righteousness. Righteousness. I just heard self-indignation, like this sense of like, again, and I think this is what they're leading to, the idea of spirituality being all like some form of perfection, perfect. You know what I mean? Like, um, it's like there's not a lack of integrity here. It is using all tools at their disposal, at this energy's disposal, to help you. It's like being closed into a very dark closet and having to navigate your way through that first before you ever walk through a dark forest. It's becoming friends with the dark. It is uh, gaining the sharpness of all of your other senses, so that you can rely on those when sight is not available. Um, the real illusion is this sense of righteousness in any one person's approach to spirituality. We have fruitfulness and understanding. It's kind of the energy of only after everything, only after you've been able to exercise and utilize this level of discernment, do you understand how beneficial it is to you and what the purpose and intent of all of that was. I'm not sure what you feel like you were was hidden from you, and we can delve into that. Or if you feel like you know, sometimes we get like these conflicting messages, and we're like, which one's which? Both can seem very, very true, and so you feel like you're being played with or toyed with, and you're like, you demand honesty, transparency, and clarity. But the point is, you're supposed to give yourself that clarity. It is you sharpening that tool, the tool of discernment. So they're asking you, rather than trying to push this trickster energy out of your Merkabah field, out of your field, to have some level of understanding, because the way in which they interact with you and what you're going to gain from this is going to be exceptionally fruitful, and that fruitfulness will show itself soon enough. Okay. I just heard, let's have a conversation. I think somebody feels like it's a test and somebody doesn't like to be tested. Somebody has endured a lot of false illusions being portrayed to them. And that's the entire point of this is to help you see in the dark. See beyond what you're being shown. What's beyond visible. Honesty. Fucking can't make this shit up. Restraint. Something with honesty and restraint feels like not being, and I don't want to use this term, but it's probably the best one I can grasp this quickly. There's a sense of naivety that somebody doesn't want to own when you operate out of utter integrity. And I think that this is really true with, you can see it in the younger, like, neurospicy individuals, right? This sense of, I say what I mean what I say. There's so much just blatant, um, being very forthright and transparent and straightforward to the point. Like there is no playing of games and manipulating of thoughts or words or that kind of thing. And so the assumption that you are operating from that energy and giving people the grace that they are to led you to being too in Ugh, impulsive in trusting people or trusting, again, you relied solely on what was right there because somebody could look at you and what they see is what they get. So you rely too heavily on what I see is what I get. And at no point did you employ, even if they spoke up, the other senses. I feel something off. I smell something off. I something doesn't sound quite, but what I see is all that mattered. And so you leaned too heavily on one of your senses. And this can be metaphorical too, like you lean too heavily on one of your spiritual senses, and so you at the of all the others. Does that make sense? And so there, this coming to of, am I? Is this real or is this not? Like getting conflicting messages that feel like downloads, um, that feel very much from spirit and probably are, but intentionally conflictual because you are being forced to rely on all your senses to determine what is real and what is not. It's teaching a bit of a self reliance as well. It's bringing all of your abilities to the forefront and intentionally using and employing them. So it's one of those things where if you don't use it, you lose it type of situation. And so it's like you need to create this. And so you through this, you've cultivated a sense of restraint. Um, Again, you've been an observer, but it feels as if you've always done really well with things external, situations that didn't include you. When it came to you, you projected your own truth onto what was, and so because I'm being transparent, everything is it's I'm relying on just this because everything that I present forward is exactly what's being presented forward. Like it is what it is. Um, so you had to cultivate some level of restraint on yourself or within yourself. And I feel like they're also saying, and I haven't picked this up, but there's also this thing where you had to you put your cards out on the table too quickly. You're so honest, so upfront. So that's probably been used against you before. And you probably have felt like spirit also played a factor in that. Why would you let that happen? Why wouldn't you speak up? Why, you know, to teach you that restraint. It's almost as if like you shouldn't be a complete open book. And if you look at the high priestess, she's never always got her book open. It is only open when it's time, right? So you may have been feeling like some type of 5 of wands energies, a sense of turmoil, feeling like you're very conflicted, you're going back and forth, feeling almost like devoted, and then like I want to retract my energy from that, trusting and then distrusting of spirit, um um uh who or what's playing in my energy, and then shutting yourself utterly down to where you're so detached that nothing gets through. Like because of that, there's just been just this I'm so sick of, right? But spirit did this with you because this is exactly how the world is operating right now. Now, I know that we're seeing a lot more honesty and um, truth about people than that was definitely hidden. It is the times are definitely pulling it out. But there's a ruthlessness that's happening right now in society and in the world with that truth and that honesty. And it's time. One, it's seeing something beyond what is being presented, but it's also a sense of self protection as well. Because with this turmoil came transformation. So if you feel like spirit's been playing with you, you're absolutely correct. They have. Um, and if you have been on the brink of, I'm done, I don't even want to work with you anymore, don't talk to me, understandable. But you demanded some level of truth, and you demanded that they come clean, and so they're gonna talk, they're being honest with you. Yes, it's not even it's like a truth that it's like a the sense of like two truths and a lie. Like there are things that are presented to you that get through to you that resonate at some level, and it's almost because it's resonating with a chord within you that operated in the old you. And every time something feels like it plucks that string, it's to show you what's still there and to allow you to exercise your gifts so that you can create the discernment so that it like these lies no longer resonate with you. Oh yeah. Mhm. Yes. Okay, let me get keep going. But it's not because you're experiencing this with spirit does not mean that you cannot trust spirit. Because spirit will no longer be able to do this when your discernment has has been sharpened well enough. Partnership. Sorry, I thought there was another one that flipped, but I guess not. Choice. You are not you have a choice in the matter as to whether or not to work with spirit on this, to have been a participant in this. This is leading you to a place where you are now in the driver's seat. It is a co-creation. You are leading it. But the only way that you can do that, it's kind of like a teenager. It's like my teenager who wants to get his driver's license. And I was like, you know, I'm like, well, then you're going to drive around town for a whole year before you ever get on the interstate. He has to be so comfortable behind the wheel. He has to be so comfortable within how he maneuvers, how he handles, how he sees things at his periphery, how he, his reaction to all the stimulus that's around him. He has to be so comfortable within those abilities. When do I put my foot on the brake? how quickly do I brake? How quickly do I press down? How do I, like before he ever gets out on the interstate. I cannot have him freaking out and panicking because he will cause an accident. He may not like that. That's the situation here. Spirit's like, we will keep doing this until you have sharpened that tool so well enough that you can interact with the world around you and other energies, entities, and spirits, and you can see right through the dark. You can see right through that which you don't see. So we'll role play this shit as long as we need to. So you feel as if you are being targeted, as if, but it's almost like I'd rather my son, it's the same here. Like, like, oh, he's so great at school, but he acts a donkey at home. I'd rather him work through things with me before he goes out into that world. I'd rather him role play how to work through his emotions and his frustrations, how to articulate himself and communicate. Like, I'd rather, that's the idea. So be mad, be frustrated, be angry. That's okay, because it's more important that you work through that with your spiritual team, because somewhere along the line, you made a commitment that you were not going back, that you're only going forward, that you were not going to repeat that pattern, that loop. You said goodbye to the old you, to that programming. And so there's a cultivation and an embodiment that's happening. And it's safer and better to learn that and integrate that with your spiritual team than for them to, the old John Wayne movies where like, the kid couldn't swim, so he'd pick the kid up and toss him out into the water. Baptism by fire. Spirit's not going to do that. So this is a partnership, and it's a choice, and it's a choice that you made. And it feels as though you coming to the realization that you've probably played and toyed with the idea. You feel like you're being manipulated and tricked at times. And you finally hit the wall, is what it feels like. Demanding, like, I'm not going to tolerate this anymore. This is not how I want to operate. And it's probably because you've hit that precipice. It does feel as if there's this you're ready kind of energy. Um, to employ what you've cultivated and learned in life. So you've probably been in a stagnant phase, is what I would say. But it's like there was no moving forward until you were ready. Madame Endora's fortune telling deck. Beware who you trust. And that has been the lesson. Imagination clouds your judgment, but the long journey will bring rewards. What's to come, passion and romance awaits. And locked doors can now be opened. It's as if you have the capacity to not repeat a pattern or to not repeat the past. Because it again, whatever situation, circumstance, or person that you interacted with in within your reality, you always projected if it had again, a situation that had nothing to do with you, you could see it clearly. But when it got too close, you would project your image onto and would wanna make that assumption. And so in that respect, it's the lens, the imagination clouds your judgment. It was the lens at which you were seeing things through. I see you as I want you to see me. The golden rule, do unto others as you'd want them do to you. There just may have been questions as to whether or not when somebody was showing you who they were. It's Maya Angelou. Believe somebody when they tell you who they are the first time, right? And you have to remember that when you kept choosing to see yourself in somebody else, they were seeing how easy it was to manipulate you, how easy it was. Uh, you set the standard for your boundaries. You were also telling them exactly who you were and then getting angry when they believed you. So, passion and romance waits, that is now going to be unlocked. Let's ask some questions about that. See, well, let's just see what they want to say about it. Let's just do that. Starman Tarot. Hello, David. Having trust in himself will absolutely make his driving on the interstate better. That's the point of driving to the point where driving so much that he is aware of how he responds, the environment around him. And you can, I don't know where you live, but you can reach 70 miles per hour in Kentucky on the fucking back roads. Not my first rodeo, people. Raised other children. Liminal space, 4 of Cups. There's something about having been uncertain about wanting to grab that cup. So maybe love and romance, passion and romance were on the table before, but you had hesitancy within yourself. Again, because there was still something plucking at that cord where you felt like you couldn't identify or discern trickster, manipulative, persuasive energies. Maybe a fear that you felt like you would be manipulated again, that you wouldn't be able to see it again. So it feels as though this has happened before. The cup has been an option. You know, that proverbial cup from the sky, sometimes coming out of the clouds behind you. All that did was cause you grief. So you There's the idea that you held back because something was reminiscent, because something kept plucking a cord that reminded you of your inability to discern before because of something that happened in the past. But also withholding created a weight of sadness within you. So whatever this is that spirit did with you, it ensued. It was building trust within yourself. And now something can move forward. Something real can present itself. You have the sun. There's a level of clarity, clear path, a victory that's been had. And then the Page of Pentacles, it can actually present itself in your reality now. Queen of Cups in the world. So the path for love and romance is going to open up for you. You're not trying to hide your cup. You trust following your heart. You trust following your intuition. You trust yourself now. Which is why you were willing to go, hold the fuck up, spirit. What's going on? Who's the trickster? I can see it plain as day. I can see what you've been doing. You couldn't before. You couldn't before. There you go. Passion gets to come in now. Excitement, passion. Yes. It's about to get hot. It's about to get hot. Ooh, your wish. Oh my gosh. So yeah, we have the sun, we have the star card, we have the ace of wands, and the page of pentacles. I don't think they want to go further than that. They don't want to move forward. It's like there's no need. Maybe you wanted every detail before, and that was because you didn't trust your discernment. But it's almost as if there's this energy of I know better than spirit does. But also I don't need to rely on somebody else to tell me because I there's this direct connection with your spiritual team. And it's almost as if it's because of your discernment, because it has sharpened what you get in direct connection from your spiritual team will be more on par and on point than and we talked about this earlier. The song, we have to go back to it. So it's called Sisters of the Moon, Fleetwood Mac, right? The idea that is that as and so I followed, as friends often do. I cared not for love nor money, and I think she knew. Well, the people, they love her, and still they are the most cruel. Talking about this deity or this entity or this energy that you work with who has heavy persuasion and calls to you. So you answered. But you find that within that energy, those you're meant to align with, you do not always do. It is in the spaces that you think that you should be able to trust completely, you have to exercise your discernment. Some call her the sister of the moon, some say illusions are her game. They like to wrap her in velvet. Does anyone know her name? I can't help but say it's not so much that you couldn't trust others that are under her auspice or those it's like moth to a flame. Like people can pretend to work with certain energies and entities. People can say that they align with, and they're not for you, or you don't need to be trusting them. So this is something that's obviously been reflected, or on the same page, they've been used as tools to do this lesson where you were manipulated until you garnered such a level of discernment that you no longer looked outside of yourself or for a third party in between to help you get and understand and discern. So there's been a very long process here of trying of feeling as if you're being lied to or tricked by spirit. And again, this was a learning process so that when you finally embarked on your path, or when the gates or the doors finally opened, your level of discernment was so on par that you could see in the dark. That you didn't rely on just one sense, that all of them were at your disposal. You were utilizing all of them, and that you knew better. I feel like saying, even when, like, I just feel like saying, whoever you work with, they would say something, you go, bullshit. And it's almost like they would just smile. So you did it. You've come out the other side. Doors are being unlocked. And on the other side of this door is romance and passion. Because spirit will know that you have such a level of confidence that you won't hesitate for fear of being deceived again or not being able to get it right. You trust yourself. And as a result, everything opens up. Freedom. You no longer constrained to the one room where you had to practice. Desire, passion, something awakens within you. You follow guidance, but you can also discern when the guidance is real and when it's not. I doubt very seriously you'll encounter many more times where you'll have to, like, that's not real, like with spirit I'm talking about. Because now you get to focus that on the external world. You get to use what you've learned, what you've cultivated and sharpened with the external world. So, all right, that's that. So, I am going to hop off. I hope this finds whoever it's meant for. I hope everybody has a fantastic day, and I will see you guys at the next read.